Today, I am going to talk about my Spanish journey and how I'm actually learning Spanish right now. So I started learning Spanish last year in October, and from ever since then, I started using the textbook. I've said this before, but I finished the textbook. I made notes in my notebook, and there are times when I go back and I review the things that I want to review, the things that I struggle with. One of those is tenses. So I go back and I review the different conjugations of the tenses and how to use them because that's something I still struggle with. Aside of that, because you have different skills that you have to master before you can become fluent in a language, I try to tackle each of those skills by themselves. So I use a textbook to help me with grammar. I started watching Buena Gente to help me with the oral comprehension, and I made notes so that I can learn how to say things. I practice speaking out loud by talking to myself, reading out loud, saying the things that are on my mind and just saying them out loud, repeating what I hear whenever I'm watching movies, cartoon series, listening to music, podcasts, or even just watching something like a YouTube video. That's called the shadowing technique if you didn't know about that. Earlier this year, I created this challenge where I would listen to a podcast every day for about 2 weeks. I would listen to a podcast that was about 30 minutes long. It was a conversation between two persons and they were just talking about different things. It was based in Mexico, so they would talk about Mexican culture, talk about different things in Spanish, talk about the language itself, talk about how to learn the language. I would listen to those podcasts twice, and then I'd listen to a shorter one that was about 5 minutes long, and I listened to that twice as well. So in all, I would listen to podcasts for like an hour every day for about 2 weeks, and that really helped me to improve my oral comprehension. I also started to watch cartoons with the Spanish audio, and that also helped me. While I was doing that, I would make a note of the things that I found useful, things I could use in my daily life. I made a note of them on my phone and I would just go back and review them as often as I can so that I could actually just commit them to my memory. One of my other biggest struggles with Spanish is reading. So now I've created this challenge for myself to read a short story or read a children's story every single day until I become more comfortable with reading Spanish because it is hard. Some other things I do to help me with Spanish would be to change some of the apps on my phone to Spanish so that I can interact with Spanish every single day. Whenever I'm on YouTube, I would try to find the videos that are Spanish and I'd read the comments below it so that I could get more comfortable with reading Spanish and see how people actually speak and express themselves in Spanish. I changed my TikTok to Spanish, so now there are random times when Spanish videos come up in my For You page. And most of the videos I watch now have Spanish comments, which is something I didn't notice before. I also have my Siri in Spanish so I can practice saying things out loud and making commands in Spanish. I research questions in Spanish, so instead of asking it in English, if I can, I will ask it in Spanish so I can get the answer in Spanish. I also pay attention to music, so I listen to music, I learn the lyrics, and I sing along, but I try my best to hear what is being said and notice patterns. For example, there was this song that I was listening to and it said, "Ya no sé qué hacer para que estés bien." Que estés is weird, but I figured it must mean something, so I researched it and I found out that it was a subjunctive tense, and now I'm a little bit more familiar with the subjunctive tense, so that's just something I pay attention to. I also watch cartoons in Spanish. That is something that I love to do. Follow for more language learning tips.